me yesterday for canceling the show. I have been sick, like sick. Um, Bedridden, and the mornings are tough. So still have some congestion. You can hear it if I go on mute and you see me disappear from the camera for a minute. Bear with me. Vote for Pedro, Mike, Jack, 949. How you guys doing? Hope you all are doing well. Remember, after today's show, Coin Show Podcast is going to be doing a chit chat. Make sure you're over there and say hi. I got a question for you, Paula.
Okay. Good
Good
morning,
morning, by the
everybody.
way.
Good morning.
When people look at coins, and you guys get, thanks, me, appreciate it. Geez, Frosty, you look horrible. I was born this way. But, Rodney Dangerfield said, when I was born, the doctor slapped me on both ends and said, congratulations, ma'am, you've had twins. Oh my gosh, I got to tell you something before we start. Did I tell you about the robbery that happened over here?
No.
They broke into a Whole Foods and somebody stole all the oregano and thyme.
Okay.
They were seasoned criminals. Oh, sorry. I know that
Oh
was
my
terrible.
goodness.
But they did catch him.
Okay.
They catch him by they caught him by spraying lacquer all over them, and eventually they became hardened criminals.
Oh,
I know, it's
geez,
just terrible.
you guys. I can't
Okay.
believe this.
My viewer count went to 0. Sorry, folks. I will tell no more jokes. So okay, when you hear yeah, thank you guys. I know Pedro, man. I'm glad you.
I think it might take a while for people to come in because you posted that you weren't going to be on all weekend.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on doing it, but I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to be miserable, I might as well just be miserable live.
Yeah,
Yesterday was tough.
fun.
I had heavy congestion, so I needed to take time off. So looking at coins,
Yes.
You've done live coin Q&A for a long time. You've been around this for quite a while.
Yes.
What is the number one problem? And again, you've been engaged in this for a long time. What is the number one problem you see when people start looking at coins?
They do not have the education that they need, and they set their expectations too high.
So that is the thing that I want to focus on first. Expectations. I have looked at a number of people, and I'm sure you guys, and I don't have a coin shop, folks. It's just me, right? And ignorance. Ignorance is bliss. But one thing that I see, and you guys please put down the things that you guys see. One of the things that I see when I look at people doing this, and again, reading more comments and seeing what's going on, especially talking about semi-quincentennial and, I'm going to be looking for this. What else should I be looking for while I'm looking at my change? And it got me thinking, do I really know what I'm looking for when I open up a roll? So if I have a 1960 roll of cents here, what am I looking for? And I do numismatic education, but I don't know everything that I'm going to be looking for. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to kind of talk about, let's go through this logically. Let's go through and kind of talk about what happens when you're trying to find that cool variety. What happens when you're trying to find those cool things? What do you need to do? How do you set yourself up? And again, what Paula said, having that expectation. How many are there, right? Everybody's looking for the 1982 small d cent, right? It's one of the major draws. 1955 double die, 1909 and SVDB, the 1916D Mercury dime, 1921 dime, right? There's so many of them that people look forward to. But when you're looking for them, what do you need to have? And so the first thing I want to do is I want to talk about setting yourself up. So there's an adage, buy the book before the coin. Paula, can you talk a little bit about what that adage means?
Well, yeah, you have to basically, you really need to educate yourself on the basics at least before you before you even start. The biggest problem nowadays is that people see these little TikTok videos and they think that they can just go through their change that they get at the store and find these, super expensive coins and super valuable coins. And because that's what they're told. That's all they're told in these 30-second little clips, that they can find these things in their pocket change. Um, and so they don't understand, especially with varieties and errors, that with varieties and errors, there's a lot of education that goes into becoming successful. You can be lucky, you definitely there's definitely a luck factor, but that people who win the lottery are lucky too. So being educated, at least buying a red book and having some idea of what you're looking, figure out what you want, what you want to find, like, do you want to just look for silver, or do you want to just look for wheat cents or Indian head cents, things like that. Like, have a plan before you go into it. And people don't. They just think they can get rich quick, I guess.
Well, and a lot of that comes with the bad information that's out
It
there, right?
does.
We
It
see a lot of
does.
the channels out there. It's like get
Hmm.
rich quick, and
Yeah.
again, folks, I don't want to knock being able to find stuff in pocket change. You absolutely can, and we've seen recent news. What's the one that they found at the coin show?
What's the one that they found at the coin show?
Remember, they found a rare in a proof set.
Oh, the 90S.
Yep. And
Yeah.
so you can find them. The stuff is out there. But the thing about that is the realistic expectation. So let's go over that 1982 small date Denver, right?
Okay.
The copper one. It's, oh my gosh. And, you know, Mike from the Coin Show podcast said this is no joke. I had a guy email me this week with no less than 8 examples of
Oh yeah.
8 1943 copper cents.
Mhm.
How many are there?
I believe the 82D, there's two.
Okay. And the 43 coppers?
I'm not exactly sure on that number. There's more than the 82D small date, but I'm not sure. It's a very, very low number.
It's a low number, early,
Yeah.
small double digits,
Same
right?
with the 44
Yeah.
steel cent. Yeah.
And so the thing is that you have to, I mean, you're talking about billions and billions of coins. And what's the likelihood? I love Chuck Daughtry of Copper Coins made the analogy one time with mathematics on the 1982 OD. And
Yeah.
he's like, in order to find, suggest 44. Thanks, bud. Appreciate you.
Yeah, that's right, Jack. Hmm.
And so be realistic in your understanding of that. Now, they've found a few in the last few years. And so they're still out there, right? There's items there. But again, when you're looking at like the 1982 small date, there's only two. What's your realistic expectation? For somebody to find one, the odds are, 1 in 1.9 billion or 1.8 billion or whatever, just for that year's coins. But to be able to find two, somebody brings in 8 examples of a 43 copper, the odds are like, they're unreal. It's just unreal that you would find something like that. Now, is it impossible? No, absolutely improbable. But have some realistic expectations.
You have a better chance of winning the lottery.
You have a better chance. So there's some goofy thing like you have a better chance of being struck by lightning while riding a skateboard with no storm within 100 miles of your presence or whatever. Or riding a horse while blindfolded being hit by again, it's just the analogy that was given was just it's funny, but the number was in the trillions. And again, folks, if you don't know how big a billion is, and then you go to a trillion, you're talking about, thousands and thousands and thousands of times more uh, unlikely. It's unreal.
Oh, there's a lot of counterfeits, Jack. Yeah,
Yeah.
on the
Well, and
40.
he was just saying he has a box of 1916 Ds, and I was like, hey, elaborate for the group. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, every one of them's counterfeit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the whole point of today is to answer some of the mail that has come across by people as they start to look at copper coins, as they start to look for these semi-Q, as they start to look for quarters or half dollars.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things that I want to do, and this is what I call Frosty's 5-point inspection. So the first thing, a trillion is 1,000 billion. Yeah, well, just to give people an idea, though, none of us have ever seen $1 trillion. So we have no real mind's eye, no concept of what $1 trillion is, right? And 3.1
Or 2.5,
or 2.5.
depending on which 1982D it is. If it's a
Yep.
1982D small date copper, it's 3.1 grams.
The one that you want is 3.1 grams.
Right.
However, just because it's 3.1 doesn't mean it's authentic.
Correct.
We see a lot of those. And so, yeah, and again, Chuck Daughtry did that too with the throwing cents against a blue bottle. Like, why would I have this bottle here? And it's the sound of the coin. Now, that's an interesting way of doing it. I wouldn't have ever thought about doing it, and sound does work, but not everybody has good tonal quality. So sound is a great idea if you understand what that sound like. But that's not a really good representation of a strategy, because if you are tone deaf, you won't know that sound. A lot of people don't have that capability. If you're good at that and you can do that, great. Just like with silver. If you know what silver sounds like, outstanding. But not all silver coins sound the same. How do you know which one is real? How do you know which one is not? And it all comes down to what was stated before, right? Know the book before you buy the coin. Know what you're looking for. Kind of have an idea of what it is that you're looking for and research it. Don't research it while you're looking at coins. Research it ahead of time, right? Have a good understanding of what it is that you're trying to get to. Bottom line up front. Know what you're trying to find. So if I know what I'm trying to find, that means I know the year, the mint mark, obviously the coin. I have it in my hand, or I know how to get it. I have my resources available depending upon what you're looking for. Those resources are going to be, if you're looking for cents, we always tell people go to Copper Coins, look at Variety Vista, pull up Wexler's, and pull them all up. Look at the different resources. Look at what's going on. What am I supposed to be identifying? Look at those die markers, right? Look at the mint mark. Is the mint mark in a certain position? A lot of people, Sue Luther, this is really important. A lot of people look at coins, but they don't even familiarize themselves with what a coin looks like. What should they be seeing? So familiarize yourself with that. Actually look at those elements. Look at those items and figure out what it is that you're supposed to be finding. And then you can begin implementing the other strategies. Have your website set up, have your links set up, have somebody set up in the background for call if you have questions. But set yourself up. Get all of your resources available. Understand what it is that you're looking for. That's number one. Okay, number two, your scale is your lie detector. Scales are extremely important. Weigh your coins. Have something handy. Now, I've got my scale somewhere in this mess. It's here. If I showed you my desk, you guys would laugh at me because it is a disaster. So I have my scale here. Make sure your scale goes to the 2 digits, right? Decimal points. and know how much your coin is. So I have a question for chat. How do you know how much your coin is supposed to weigh? How do you find that? Where do you go? I'm not going to tell you the answer. I will in a minute. I mean, obviously, but in chat, where do you go? Where do you find that information? We just talked about having your resources. So if you have your resources, then you should be able to find the weight. We're looking at US coins right now. Redbook. There you go. Redbook works. PCGS Coin Facts. That's another great one, Jack. What about, come on, let's start adding some items.
I will tell you, if you look at PCGS Coin Facts enough, though, there are mistakes.
Well, you'll find mistakes in everything.
Yes.
Right, and that happens.
The tolerance chart is great, Luther, but and if anybody wants the US,
Luther.
If anybody wants the US Mint is a great one. If anybody wants the US Mint, the coins tolerance list, let me know, or I can send it to Frostbite. There you go, and we can get it to you.
There are mistakes in the red book too. There are, and again, folks,
there are.
Don't have a single source. Single points of failure are bad, right? Multiple sources. And again, farm dogs like, ask Paula. It's a good question. It's a good statement.
Tolerance is important to know. So if you want that list, it has the weight of every single U.S. coin and the tolerance. So, okay. Yeah, I can do that right now, Mike.
If you, is it a URL?
Oh, I'll send it to you right now, too.
Okay.
And then you can pass it along.
YouTube Me says, there is a reason why Navy aircraft have two engines. Redundancy, right? Fail-safes, failovers. Making sure you're protected, having things in redundancy. It's important to have multiple resources. It's important to have multiple sources for things. I tell people all the time, I want to be a channel that you can depend on and trust, but I don't want you to take me as the bottom line Bible truth. I want you to follow up on what I say and make assertions and assessments yourself. And if you find information that's...
Thanks, Mike. That's sweet.
You teach in more than one way. Right, Paula?
But yeah.
You teach us tolerance in more than one way. It's important to really kind of look at and identify, where are those items? And I tell everybody, folks, go back to the source. If you are looking if you're looking at coins and you're in England, you're in London, and you're looking at your local change, you're looking at the pound, or you're looking at something that's come across from the euro or something, so you're looking through coins, go to the source, find it, know what it is. And that's something that a lot of people fail to do. They don't think about the fact that the United States Mint is the one that's creating these. They're going to tell you exactly what the tolerances of the coins are. That should be one of your primary sources. Use the tools that are best for you. And then, again, as you go through and you start finding stuff, a lot of these channels will provide you additional information, but go back and validate and verify and make sure that it actually looks the same and meets the same criteria as hold on just a second. You're going to pull this up. So I'm going to open this up. This is just shared by. If you guys want this, I will put this on my community page.
That's a good idea.
Okay, so here is a tolerance sheet. It's very small. You'll have to zoom into it yourself. But it gives you all of the coin tolerances on every U.S. denomination. presidential dollars, Lincoln cents, 2 cents, 3 cent, 3 cent nickels, straight bust half cent. All the tolerances are here. This is a really good source for you guys to utilize, right? This is something that is important. This should be one of those things in your toolkit. But again, it's not that you have to use this one exactly as it is, but definitely have something that allows you to reference and go through this. I don't know what else is got more images, but I don't want to click on anything. So I'll post this in the community page afterwards. Thanks for showing that, Paula. But this is what she's referencing. We'll make sure this is available to everybody. Actually, what I'll do is I will put that real quick by a show of hands in chat. How many of you know that I have a shared drive that's available for you, that anytime I put out any kind of resource, it gets thrown in there? There's also a spot in there for Jack Young, Jack Riley, when they post stuff on counterfeits, they're able to put stuff in there. If you're not aware of it, reach out to me, let me know. It's on my community page. You can go back there and look at it there. I'll make sure EMR is like, I know. But yeah, go check that stuff out. And as people give me information, I try to throw that there. But there's so many great stuff. Livecoin Q&A has a page on references and resources. There's a lot of different things. There's so much stuff out there. Just make sure you're looking at good stuff. But the bottom line in this is, if you're looking at U.S. coins, go to the U.S. Mint. If you pull up something on the Lincoln cent, you're looking at the semi-quincentennial, and you click on that item, it's going to tell you what it weighs. It's going to tell you the dimensions. It's going to tell you the size. It's going to tell you how thick it is. It's going to tell you the design elements. The anatomy of the coin, you guys have seen that graph before, right? Get familiar with the anatomy of the coin, so that when somebody talks about the field, you know what that means. When somebody talks about the devices, you know what that means, and you can ask them, which one are you talking about specifically? If you're talking about the motto, or you're talking about the date or the mint mark, be familiar with the coin itself. But all of that information is at the source. So one of your primary tools should be that source. Jack Young, Jack Riley, those folks are here, right? Know how to tell the difference between a real and a fake coin. This goes for if you're a stacker. And I know we've talked about silver and gold a lot in the last few days. Man, you have better understand the difference between real and fake silver, real and fake gold. The same thing with your coin. If you're looking for something, know what's real. And how do you do that? Well, look at a bunch of coins. Familiarize yourself with it. Now, mind you, at this point, we still haven't touched a coin. I haven't even told you to go buy a coin yet. Why? Because these are all things you should be doing prior to even beginning your coin search. These are all things that you should have. These are all little tips and tricks that will help you identify or help you prepare yourself to identify these things. So when we're looking at, real versus fake, you're looking at some of the strike. So, Paula, if I'm trying to determine something and I don't know anything about a coin other than its look, what are some things that might trigger me that a coin is damaged or not authentic?
If you don't know, say that one more time.
So if I'm looking at coins, okay, and I really don't know all the specific details, what are some of the things that you might look for? Obviously, if you see a road coin, I wish I had examples. Unfortunately, my PowerPoint presentation that I had for you guys today soaked in a power surge. But what would you set up for? How would you identify, like, if something was real?
Well, you have to know. You have to find out the basics about the coin to be able to identify whether it's counterfeit or not. I mean, you have to be able to identify whether the design looks right, what the composition is. Is it metal? Is it magnetic, non-magnetic? Yeah, you have to find out the basics
So I had somebody
That's
message
the coins
me,
you're looking for.
and you guys know this. How many of you guys know Maskman Metals? You guys know that name?
Yes.
He's got some coins from his, I think it's his grandmother or his mom, one of the two. Got a whole bunch of stuff. Said, hey, I want you to help you look through it. And I told him, I said, if you want to look, reach out to me, let me know, ask a question. And he's like, I got a copper cent. We're talking about the 43. I got a copper cent. It's got a magnetic core, but it's copper. Isn't that rare?
Nope.
And it's like, no. If it's magnetic, it's not real.
Yep.
Okay. And he's like, well, I thought they were a variety. And it's like, no. So what is what's unique about the 1943? Well, they're steel. Okay, so it's magnetic. Yes. Is copper magnetic? No, it's diamagnetic. Outstanding. Okay. So if it is diamagnetic, it doesn't attract to a magnet.
That's what he had, Luther.
But this one is magnetic. What does that tell you? It can't be copper.
Right. Still Sam.
Yeah, done. You're good. That's it. That's all you need to know. Right? Bottom line, copper is not magnetic. If it sticks to a magnet, it's done. Now, are all 43 copper cents magnetic?
43 copper cents.
The fake ones.
Oh no. There are genuine. So that here's where Jack Young's gonna cringe a little bit. But altered and counterfeit are two separate but same. Let's compromise on that. So you can have altered, which is like the plated 43 steel cents, and then there are full on counterfeit, where nothing about it is real. So the copper plated 43 steel cents are genuine coins, but they are altered. There are full on counterfeit 43. They weigh the same, or close to the genuine articles, but the design, there's always something that's not right.
Well, and again, going back to that, we'll talk about strategy number 5. We'll get there in just a second when we're talking about the authentication of
there are
some of these
also altered 48s, Jack Riley.
Right.
Correct. I'm sorry. Milli Vanilli. Yes. Milli Vanilli.
They are not what they pretend
Blame
to be.
Blame it on the rain.
So next time, you know what? That's actually funny. So next time we talk about the deterioration of zinc cents, we'll call it "Blame It on the Rain."
Blame it on the rain.
Or the Richmond dime.
Or the Richmond dime. Ay, ay, ay.
By the way, I'm still getting feedback from that one.
I love it.
Somebody said, "Hey, when you interview Greg, you should ask him about that." And I was like, no.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I wasn't going there. That's another conversation. But here's the thing. And by the way, for those of you guys,
about the bifurcated plane.
Bifurcated plane. Or plane. Plane. Bifurcated plane. One of the is it going to make him cringe? Because I know
it probably will.
When I sent him the AI thing, he's like, "Can we please not talk about this on the podcast?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, sorry."
Mm-hmm.
But he has this thing about if you're going to fail hard.
Yeah.
Right. So try, get out there and try. Right. I want you guys looking at coins. I want you guys finding stuff. I want you guys reporting back that you found something cool. We're going to be doing something on here pretty quickly regarding semi-quincentennial. You guys know that I am big on U.S. history, and I love history of coins, talking about the stories and going through stuff. And the semi-quincentennial right now, 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence is amongst us. It's happening right now. People are finding some of the coins in their pocket change, and people are looking for different things. And if you're just looking for the new dime or the new quarter, and that's your idea of your coin hunt, then more power to you. But I would ask you to do something, and that is, as you look through some of those items, you get a roll of dimes. Don't immediately take those dimes back. Sit on them for a day or two, and look at what other things can you do. If you've got 4 or 5 coins from, let's give what's a good variety for rosy dime? Maybe the doubling.
Well, so really, there's no like modern ones that there's some older ones that are, you know, some really nice double dies and repunchment marks, but the modern ones, you can find some amazing die clashes.
Okay, so die clashes. Maybe die clashes your thing. So when I think of die clashes, you know who I think of?
The 5 on the cheek, Mike Noodle. Oy vey, oy vey.
Oy when vey. I think of die clashes, I think of, you know, that goes back to the Richmond dime, but I think of Dirty Water, right? Dirty Water collectible and die clashes, and the 43-cent that we found when looking at copper coins had an amazing die clash on there.
Yeah.
So I sent him one. Nice. I was like, hey, I know you like these things. Have this. Know people in the community that enjoy that. So if you know somebody, what's up, Robert Bruce? How you doing, bud? Good to see you. There are these people that enjoy aspects of stuff, varieties.
Congratulations, Southern Coin Hunter! Yay!
What is it?
He's now a member of the ANA. Everybody who collects coins should be a member of at least the ANA.
Absolutely.
And Kaneka, if you like errors and varieties, but the ANA at least.
I was talking to somebody the other day, and they're like, well, I'm a member of the ANA. And I'm like, really? It's like, yeah, well, I've been a nurse for about 8 years. And I was like, wrong ANA.
Different one.
That is a different ANA. That's a good ANA, too. But the American Numismatic Association, for those that are trying to figure out what ANA is. And then Kaneka, again, we talked about the interview with
Greg Bennick.
Greg Bennick, yep, and that's coming out shortly. I think you guys will enjoy that. It's going to be 2 parts. We're going to release them pretty close together.
Relations.
Should be a lot of fun. But again, having people who like that stuff, and so we just talked about Greg Bennick and errors. He might be a great resource for you to have on standby if you're looking at something like this. Know the variety attribution points. Or if you're going to be looking at something like large date coppers, you're trying to get into some older coins, Jack Young might be the great person to go to. If you're looking at trying to find something within Lincoln Cents, you know, Eric or Chuck from Copper Coins might be a really good resource for you. It goes back to coordinating and scheduling your resources, making sure you have those things. But it's important that you understand before anything what the real coin actually looks like. If you can't tell me if it's real or not, you probably shouldn't be looking at it. You need to be able to tell me that the coin is real. Now, you might not know why it's fake.
Can I just say something on that note?
Yeah.
Really, you guys, you really need to set realistic expectations, though, and understand that the odds of you finding these things are astronomical. And
that goes back to the very first one. Set that realistic expectation. That's number one. Yeah. And you're right, because again, you see people come all the time and they're like, "Oh, I have 2 of these."
All the time.
Yep. Sorry. Yeah. If you had 1, it would be amazing, but a 2? There's only 2. You doubled the population. Wow, that's so cool. Not likely, but you know, let's look. Things are out there, but just because they're out there doesn't mean you're going to be the one to find them. But look, honestly, look. Take time and see if you can find that stuff. but know what you're looking for. And this goes back into kind of the last one, and that is, again, when we know when we know what we're looking for, you're going to be able to find it easier. But find the variety. So now you've done your research, you know what the real coin looks like, you've got your resources available, you buy the roll, you sit down. If it's a roll of
you have a better chance of finding an 83D copper than you do an 82D copper.
There's more of them.
Keep that in mind.
Say again?
I said keep that in mind. You have a better chance of finding an 83D copper than you do an 80. Well, so those I think are extremely scarce, Luther. But
yeah, there's so I mean, again, you can talk about the real rarities.
I mean, they're all extremely scarce.
You can look at them all you want to. It's just the likelihood of you finding them is going to be slim and none.
Yeah, I mean.
But there's a lot of cool coins. Now, I talk about this as one of my favorite. There's 3 or 4 things that have happened on this channel that happened live while we were actually streaming, looking at authenticating coins. 2 of them happened with live coin or with copper coins, but live coin Q&A, and then Coach's Magic, what's up? We're just getting ready to speak to you. One of the coolest things that's ever happened on the channel was with Coach's Magic. Brand new. I have this 1795 half cent. Remember that?
Yeah, and I wanted to tell Jack Young too. That's another one that the tolerance on that. I had a really hard time. I finally found it in the Little Sisters book, I think, but I had a really hard time finding tolerances on those because there is a wide. I'm trying to think of the right way to say this. I'm losing my words again. It's vast. The weight differences can be that it is not the best weight is not the best determining factor. Oh my gosh, Paula, spit it out. But
no,
I will
it's just one. It's just one of the tools.
And there's a anyway.
And so, Robert Bruce, we've talked about this a bunch, and I know you keep looking for that gold mine 82D. There's 2.
Well, if you have a 1982D copper cent that weighs 3.1, you probably have a large date.
Large date.
I finally spit it out, Paula.
Yeah, and so again, when you're looking at this, it's understanding you know what you have. Know what it is that you're looking for. In this particular case, the 1982D is so well documented that if you go look at copper coins and you do the 1982D and you watch his video, he breaks down even the math for you, tells you what the likelihood. One of the best videos I've ever seen on the 82D, by far and away. The best video for people to be looking at that. If you're looking at the thumbnail that I have on there is one of the favorite that I have is the 1969S. I was so happy when I thought I found one, and then I realized what mechanical doubling was, right? And I was like, oh, so it's cool, but it's not the
really
thing. It's not what I'm looking for.
It's not really a tolerance gap, Luther. It's there's 2 different weights. So there's not really a tolerance gap between the 2 different weights. Each weight has its own tolerance. He's talking about the 43 steels. There's 2 different weights for 43 steel cents.
Okay.
Because they changed the supplier, I believe, of the planchets halfway between. So There's two, or I think more like 3/4 of the way, but
the tolerance is small.
yeah, for each weight,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah, you can't. I see what you're saying. Yeah, you can't compare
yeah,
the tolerances between each other.
yeah. He's
Yeah,
talking
you
about a
can't do
tolerance
that.
gap. Yeah,
Yeah, that would be like, I have a Mercedes, and so I'm going to go buy the brand new whatever, but the Mercedes that I have is a
yeah.
1960. A blower probably won't fit on that, right? So you need to go be specific, know exactly what it is that you're looking for to do that. Billy also produced some copper cents at a small date.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
well,
do.
there's
Yes,
7 of them,
but
Robert.
yeah, there's seven different
So
normal varieties.
I don't want to get in. I want to stop this conversation on that
Yeah,
end right now.
yeah. I wanted
Because
to
if
just
you
mention.
don't know that there's 7 of those, we don't need to have the conversation.
Yeah,
That goes back to knowing what you're supposed to be looking for.
yeah.
So there are a number of 1982 cents. If you don't know what they are, you shouldn't be looking at them. Period. End of story.
Morning, Copper L.
And so it is. It's way overplayed, Luther. And the problem is that there's only 2. You can look for them all you want to. There's only 2. But if you spend all your time looking for that, you're missing all the other cool varieties that are out there. And there are people that all they want to do is find that one, and that's great. It's a gold mine. But just know that you're likely to never find it.
Because I think that most of them don't understand their odds, because that's
Right.
all they see. They
Yep.
see these clickbait videos and stuff like that, and everybody who's new to the hobby now, the 82D copper cent is a real thorn in coin dealers and educators' sides, because everybody's looking for it when they first start out, right? And everybody
Agree.
thinks that they found it.
Yep.
Because they haven't learned to distinguish the difference between large and small date and everything else.
Yep.
But it's also, you have to also realize that it's one of the most important coins that we have ever had in the hobby, because I think that it singularly has brought in more people to the hobby than any other coin.
Absolutely agree. And so they draw people in.
It certainly does.
It's important. The reason that I'm on this, and the reason I want to talk, and again, I showed the 1969 because it's a coin that I like. But
Yeah.
if you look at the thumbnail, it's like, that's the coin. But what are you looking at? Well, you're looking at all the doubling. Is the doubling everything you have to look for? No. But if you don't see the doubling first, don't be looking at the die markers.
Yeah.
Find the variety first. If you're looking for the 82D and you're not looking at that too to determine whether it's large or small date, you're wasting your time.
There is a beautiful thing that happens the first time you see a small date. It is the first time and the last time you will not know what it looks like, or that you will know what it looks like.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you actually see one in hand, most people never mix them up again. They can and there is a difference in the entire design of the small date and the large date. It's not just the date. Like the entire In God We Trust all look different. Liberty looks different.
But the defining factor, the thumbprint of the coin, is the date and the mint mark.
It is. Well, the date for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're looking at, and again, when you're looking at authenticating it, then it's one of those things that, number one, does that 2 have that straight slash, right? Does it come down and it goes straight in? Boom. Yes, it's not the right one. Period. End of
If
story.
you cannot fit a second 2 between the 2 and the rim,
Yep.
it's a large date.
And that is another way to look at it. But the thing is know the defining factors. But you have to know what the real coin looks like.
Yeah.
Have you ever looked at the 1982 small date and really said what's the difference between this than the rest of them? If you haven't done that, then you don't know what you're looking for.
Yep.
If you haven't looked at what that error looks like in relation to one of the other coins, you do not know what you're looking for. So what I want people to understand here is become familiarized with what the real one looks like. Be an expert on that, because you know what? You'll look through all the other ones and it's like, nope, not it, not it, not it, not it. Maybe it's a small date. Maybe let's look at that. Nope, doesn't weigh right. Wrong D.
Understand, right? You can look through several boxes
yeah.
of coins without ever finding anything. That is the true expectation you should have. Know that you will search box after box after box and expect to find nothing. Maybe a little die chip, maybe a die crack, maybe even a minor double die or a 6D small date or 60D small date, minor things like that.
I want to key into something that Robert Bruce just said. These videos got me in the beginning. I'm never going to listen to them again. What I want you to understand, and again, I'm not talking just to Robert Bruce, I'm just answering his comment, but in general, if you see something cool and it brings you into the hobby, and then you'll learn that all the crap that they gave you is a lie, it really turns people off of the hobby. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to find something, but they just don't necessarily realize the amount of work that's involved. They don't necessarily understand what you have to do to be able to identify it. If you can't look at one of the error coins, 1960 large over small date, when you see one, you'll know it.
Yeah.
You just see it. The 1943 doubled, right? That's what Eric showed a couple weeks ago on the channel. When you see it, you know it, right? And then there's the fly poop and the pepper, right? And all the little double dumbs and everything on the 2009.
Right, Copperell, yes.
Right, too, right? There's a lot of that stuff. The point comes in, if you're going to be looking at coins, know what the coin you're looking for looks like. That's the important piece. Bottom line, end of story.
You cannot learn 99% of what you need to know. You cannot learn in a 30-second video.
Fact.
You cannot learn it in a little TikTok clip or one of those. If you are watching something and they tell you about a variety, but they don't tell you what you need to know to find it, or give you a link to where you can get more information, then you need to not watch that. You're wasting your time.
Yeah, and that's exactly right, Pedro. And this is one of the problems that we have within this hobby. We have AI-generated spam, which is they don't even care about the coins. They just know it's an area in which people do that, and if they watch a bunch of it, they can make some money. They don't care about it being authentic. And these are the ones that are the 1955 double die, and they show you a 1972 cent.
Or they show you garbage that they have found and are claiming is something.
And that happens too. Right? That happens a lot.
Yeah.
But what's important is, well, there's this really neat way we talked about, and we're not going to mention his name, we talk about somebody who likes to constantly redevelop the wheel when it comes to the terminology. Just because you call it something different doesn't make it any different. It is the same thing. Know what you're looking for. Know what the die markers are. So I'm going to ask, Paula, you can't answer.
Okay.
Mike, you can't answer. I'm going to tell you can't because you guys would know this. And I know there's other people in here who will be able to. if I am going to be looking for a 1909S, what do I need to do? Now, Paul is going, that was very vague for a reason.
S or SVDB?
Okay. Again, I said not to comment.
Oh.
Okay, because you'll see where I'm going with this. Jack Riley, which series? Right. What are we talking about? What coin? There are two 1909 S's.
Sorry, I didn't know that's where you were going with it. I'm going to go get some coffee.
Yeah, it's okay. Are we looking? Yeah, there you go, Jack Young. I'm standing right. So this is one of those things. Are we even talking about the same damn thing? Right? Are we even discussing the same coin? So if I say 1909S, well, are we talking cent, dime? I assumed we're talking Indian, but I could have been talking barber dime. Right? So first thing we need to do when we're having these discussions is you need to make sure you understand what the person's talking about. Okay, I'll let myself out. Well, and again, I was trying to be vague for a very specific reason. If we're talking about cents, yeah, exactly, EMR. Which denomination are you referencing? Right? You have to think critically. It's something that is ask questions. So if I say 1909S, 1909S could be a barber. It could be an Indian head cent. It could be a Lincoln cent. It could be a $50. It could be a number of coins. Okay, so let's narrow it down. The 1909 cent, outstanding. Then again, which one are we talking about? Which series? Are we talking about Indian head cents, or are we talking about Lincoln cents? Why does that matter? Well, because in 1909 there were two types of pennies.
Yep.
There was the Indian head cent, and then there was the Lincoln cent. The last year for the Indian head cent, the first year for the Lincoln cent. Now, if you want to go historically, right, 1909, people returning from the Great White Fleet. You guys know me. I talk about my naval history and stuff like that. It's a big year. People came back and there were two coins, and it's like, what do you mean? The 1909, it's an Indian head cent. It's like, actually, there's a new penny out. It's the Lincoln head cent. But the 1909S Lincoln cent is not the same without the VDB. But there's not a VDB on the design of the Indian head cent. Mm-hmm. You're not going to be finding that. Knowing what the elements of the coin are. Okay, but be specific. So when you're asking a question, like I just did to Paul, and I did this for a very specific frame of reference.
And I still screwed it up.
Well, but the point is you answered exactly, because what you did was, oh, are we talking about VDB?
I need more information.
Right? Yeah, I need more information. So when you're asking for help, okay, and we're going to get to the last one. When you're asking for help and when you're looking at coins, don't send an email to somebody, say, what do you think?
No, be specific.
Be specific.
Tell me what you see, and then ask me to verify.
I found this 1909 Indian head cent that has an S. I've been looking at the mint mark. Doesn't seem right to me. Would you be willing to look at it? I did that for somebody else
too. Somebody else found an Indian head cent that they were told was counterfeit, but it wasn't counterfeit. It was genuine. Get more than one opinion.
But I say this all the time. I want you guys to listen to me and think that I'm a channel of integrity and tact and honesty. I don't want you to take me as the final determining factor. I want you to take the information that I give you and go validate it with other people. Because I don't know all the information. I want to. I try to. I want to learn. I want to do better. I want to know more. But I don't have all the information. There's a lot of other people out there that have a lot more information than I do. So have multiple resources, right? That goes back to number 2, knowing your resources, knowing what's available to you. It's important to be able to look at and do that kind of stuff. But be specific when you're asking for help. Okay? This is something that is really important to me. When you send me a question, or when you send Paula or Eric or somebody else a question, when you go to Mike from Harlan J. Burke, tell them what you see. Tell them what you found. And then say, I would like, what are your thoughts? Cool. Nice. Congrats. Now, I don't think it's what you think it is, but nice find. What do you want us to say? There's no guidance for us. It doesn't help us to determine what you're trying to assess. It doesn't tell us what you think you know. But let's say that EMR comes back and says, hey, Frosty, what's going on, bud? I found this 1960 Merc dime. The D looks too big. I know there's 4 mark placements. I can't find the graphic. Can you help me see if it's authentic? Now I know what he's looking for. And now I know that there's a possibility he doesn't think the D looks right. I'm going to send him the 4 images that show the placement of that and say, let's walk through this. Obviously, I've got photos. Here's what I see. I'll be sending out something to Paula or Jack or somebody else saying, hey, you want to verify this with me? Because I learned from Paula a long time ago, don't make assessments. You could cost somebody a lot of money. We just talked about that 1909S, right? That's fake. It's fake. It ended up being real. What happened if they would have got rid of that?
It's very easy to make a quick judgment on something. It's better to step back, take your time, really look at the coin, and if you have any question at all, find somebody else to get a second or third opinion about it, because it can be a very costly mistake for somebody giving them the incorrect information. Now, to be fair, the person that was showed that Indian had sent was, I believe it was at a coin show. They were busy. They had customers and everything else. I had a lot more time to look at it probably than that person, but they should have just not given an answer. They should have said, go show it to somebody else, or I don't have the time, or blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean?
Well, hey, I've done that. I mean,
don't know
I did
the
that.
entire circumstance, so I probably shouldn't.
Jack Young's in chat, right? And so Jack Young and I, we were talking about some of the coins, and we were looking at the potential of something being real or not.
Yeah.
And I made an absolutely poor assessment because I didn't understand that the 2008 ASE had a really cool variety, and what I had stumbled was the variety.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, this isn't right. It doesn't have this, right? I gave all the details, but I didn't have all the information.
Yeah, that's a hubba coin right there.
It is. And so I went back to look at it, and it sold for way more than what was there. But again, I didn't know, right? So I was very clear when we pulled this up. I don't know about this coin. We need to ask because Jack had made a question. Well, if there's a known variety, have you compared it against the variety? And I'm like, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was one. Is there something else? He's like, well, there's something about it that just because I was able to find a coin that looked like that as well. And you've done this a lot of times, right? You've stopped me and said, okay, well, where did you see the information for that? Okay, where did you find that? How did you verify that? Where's the information? Where did you locate this? And you need to do that. You need to have somebody that tells you, you know what, I just don't know. Let me give you somebody else.
Yep.
Robert Bruce, a picture worth 1,000 words. Yes, but only if that picture has good quality.
Right. And if you find something and you ask about it, or even if you don't ask about it, if you find something and you see that something is not right about that coin, but you don't know exactly what it is, and maybe somebody has given you an answer, but you still have questions about it, set that coin aside and come back to it later after you have looked at more coins and have familiarized yourself more and have educated yourself more. Then come back to it. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with disagreeing with people who give you an answer. My ask is that you just don't continue to argue. If you disagree, then disagree and set it aside and come back to it.
I just dropped the link to the Coin Show podcast. It will be coming up here in a minute. It's just going to be a hangout, chit chat. Mike is going to do his thing. I don't think Matt is there. I think Matt is doing something. He's got somebody else on.
I think Matt's on vacation.
Zach is going to be the person that's going to be on, if I'm not mistaken. Brilliant young mind in the field of
young Zach. Oh, nice.
Young Zach.
Yay.
So, again, a lot of cool stuff. But when you go through again, he is on vacation. Yes, and his body is matching his mental state. He doesn't watch me say that. I'm just joking. But again, know your resources, know what you're looking for, have those people together. But again, the last thing that I want to give you when it comes to this is something that, I don't know, I get frustrated when I see people do this. Do you know what the value of my coin is?
Oh, that's typical. Don't get frustrated by that. I think 99% of people come in the hobby, they want to know what it is or where they can find it and what it is and where they can sell it. That's it. That's all they want.
My problem with that is this.
That's all they want to know.
I don't know the answer. I don't know prices. I don't.
I don't give them. Typically.
And it's like, well, we can find the red book, but the red book's not going to be a very good point for looking at. Yeah, see, Jack, that's my point, right? There's so many things.
Absolutely is.
And so okay, so let's say we find this. We find a 1916D Mercury dime.
Mm-hmm.
Even in low grades, it's an expensive coin.
Yeah.
Yeah, a few hundred dollars, maybe $1,000. You get into higher grades, you start getting into more and more and more money. If you find one that's authentic, you should be going to somebody who knows them. Dealing with somebody who knows a coin shop, and that could be, Harlan J. Burke, that could be Lost Dutchman, that could be, it doesn't matter who it is. But the point is, take it to an expert, and they can tell you what they would buy it for, what they would sell it for. Go to different coin shops and look at the different items.
Or shows, yeah.
Or shows, yeah.
Someone needs to look at it in hand for sure.
But yeah, again, and photos are great, right? Photos worth 1,000 words. But in photography,
exactly,
a clear photo, something that you can kind of zoom into, not a picture of a screen, right?
Even with photos,
the photo matters.
Yeah,
so
but
just getting a picture doesn't mean that you're going to have a great time identifying what that coin is.
And some coins, in between one point in a grade, the price can jump, right? And so I do not. You'll hear me say it a lot. I rarely ever will try to grade a coin from a photograph because I just don't think that you can accurately do that. I think that to give an accurate grade, you have to have the coin in hand. And when it comes to coins like the 16D Merc, that the values jump so drastically from
Yep.
one grade to the
Fact.
next, um, yeah, it's just not. So you can't give an accurate value.
It needs to be in the hands of somebody who knows what they're doing with it, right?
The best thing
And
you can do is just send them a link, and where they can get, you know, the lowest grade to the highest grade value, and not. So I use Numis Media a lot. I don't usually send people to like PCGS or NGC to give values, because those are graded coin values.
there's a premium
And yeah,
attached
and
to them.
people don't look back at like if you go to PCGS, if you scroll down a little bit from the value they give, there's auction
Yep.
records and things like that.
Yep.
People don't look at that.
Nope.
They just look at the value that PCGS gives, and that's it. You really need to factor in the auction records and things like that,
That's correct.
and the years, because their auction records go back 10 years or more. You know, so there's just too many factors. Frostbite said it exactly right. Take it to somebody take it to a dealer at a show or a shop, that
Yep.
can look at the coin in hand, tell if it's been cleaned, give you an accurate grade, and then give you an accurate value. Because a lot of times photographs can hide cleanings and things like that. So
I want to do something. I've actually reached out to Luther. We have an idea for an episode. I'll talk with you a little bit about it. Where we're going to actually show you how people create some of these items. Where Vice coins.
Oh, Luther has great ones.
VICE is not correct. VISE, right?
Yes.
Know the difference between Miami Vice and a Vice that holds something. And looking at those kind of things. What happens when you smack 3 coins together with a hammer? What does that look like? Because if you understand how they're done, just like knowing the minting process, you'll be able to better understand kind of the process of how that thing came to being.
I'm going to put a link up to Numis.
The coins are my vice. Ray, your wife is going to beat you. Your wife should be that. My whole point behind this is, again, do your research, know what's going on, know the minting process. Paula tells me this all the time when we go through this stuff. Okay, where in the process would that could have happened?
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things where if you're not able to say that, doesn't mean that you're not any good. It just means you need to learn that. Learn the minting process. Really. Know the metals that your coin is on. Know the problems with zinc. Handling it is going to become a bigger issue. Know the problems with copper. Copper is corrosive. What happens if you don't store it properly? Those are all things that happen after the fact, right? But when you're looking for coins, just make sure you have all your information handy. Know what it is that you're looking for, and know what the real one looks like. Have a really, really good knowledge of what the real one looks like. Because if you don't, you're never going to find it. You just won't. Do you remember when you and Amanda were on and we were going through the sorting of my great big copper bag?
No.
we were going through, and I was setting stuff up for a search.
Okay.
And I was just looking at them, and Amanda stopped me and said,
"Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hold on, go back.
Yeah.
53. Go back to the 53. Okay. You see that S? Yeah. See that little thing at the top? This is a pretty cool variety." I was like, "What do you mean?"
Yeah.
Like, well, let's look it up. Go to Copper Coins, pull this up, go to Wexler, pull it up. And we pulled it up, and she's like, "This is a repunched mint mark. This is what that looks like." So the last thing that I'm going to give you as an idea is, if you want to search for coins, it doesn't matter if you're experienced or not, if you have the capability, sit down with somebody who knows what's going on and walk through some of them and have them show you. Find a discovery piece. And when you find that piece, research it, look at it, learn about it. Learn exactly what happened to that. Be able to explain every facet of that item.
Yeah.
And then when you find it, you'll never miss it. I'll never miss another 53S. Because I dug into the 53S and looked at a bunch of stuff, and I was like, I know that particular one. It's the one that has the little, it looks like a Spanish S, right? It has a little thing over the top of the S mark. I'll never miss that again because I wanted to know what was going on. Can you tell a large date from a small date from a picture? Absolutely. Yeah, without question. Real easy.
Tyler had a question too.
Tyler. Good morning, Tyler. How are you? I was going through some 1970 pennies yesterday and had a couple that weighed 2.9 or almost 3.5. Any thoughts?
Yeah, 2.9 what? 2.91 or 2.99?
Well, and here's the thing. Does your scale only go to one decimal point?
Well, obviously not if you had them 3.05 and 3.18. So he's probably got the right scale.
Okay,
right?
but
that is important to know. You're right.
Not making an assumption.
Yeah.
I want to ask: did they use a different scale for the other ones? It says it's there. I mean, it's in the question. It's there, but I just want to ask for verification. Yeah. Does your scale go to 2 digits? And if it's 2.90, there's a number of things it could be.
Under tolerance.
Yeah. Doesn't mean that it's fake, but there's a lot of other things that it could be. Maybe it's a thin planchet. Maybe it's a drier coin. Maybe it's old.
Yeah.
Maybe it is a road coin and it's been hammered and somebody scraped it under the tire and it's pulled off some of the material. There's a lot of different things. I can't answer the question with that because I don't know enough information.
Yeah, that's that.
Just don't have enough information.
If you have a question about a specific coin, then you really have to send pictures.
Yeah, and so that's one of the things where
Texas cents are zinc.
Yeah. So again, it goes back to having enough information and knowing what it is that you're asking. One of the things that I try to do, 2-digit gram scale, perfect. Okay.
2.97 and 2 points. So within tolerance.
Yeah.
Tyler, that is within tolerance. Yeah.
Well, but then again, here's the clarification that we're talking about. Being able to ask a question. Tyler, I thank you. You just proved our point. You have the data. So the data was, I have a coin that is 2.97 and 2.99, or 2 coins, right? I know that they're supposed to be 3.14. Is this something I should be looking into? No, it's within tolerance. It's fine, right? It was a very well-framed question, but even in that, not having the 2.99 or 2.97 and 2.99, that was a vital piece of information. And so when you're asking questions, again, it's very important. The question does matter. It really does matter when you're trying to seek help. And this goes into the very last thing. And I'm going to end about 5 minutes early. We've got about 15 minutes. I'm going to end about 5 minutes early to make sure people have time to go get coffee before they go over to the Coin Show podcast. But when you're asked questions, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to write it down and then come back and ask yourself that question. And if I have to say, well, in order to answer that, I have to know this, then that question doesn't help you. I sat down with my daughter yesterday. You guys know that I'm teaching my daughter finance. I've told you that, Paula?
I did not know that. No. You need
so my
to
daughter,
teach me finance.
19, came up to me, and Bifrost, you guys have seen her. She's done drawings and stuff. Matter of fact, we're going to probably have her back on.
She hasn't done that in a long time.
I need to have her back on and do some stuff. Her skill, because she's going to school for art, her skill is improving. She was already good.
Yeah.
But she's done some stuff that's like, holy crap. I'll post a couple things on my community page. And I sat down with her and I said, do you want to learn? What do you need to learn? What is it that you want to learn? And she goes, Dad, you're always talking about coins and you're always talking about silver and gold. But how do I, like, where do I start? And I'm like, well, do you want me to teach you about money? And she's like, please. So we've been sitting down talking about money, talking about, we're setting up a thing where she's going to be putting in $200 a month into an IRA, right? Roth IRA. Make sure that those taxes get taken out ahead of time. Don't wait and pay the taxes later. And she's like, why 200? It's like, well, $200 a paycheck over the course of your life. By the time you retire, you're going to have $1.4 million if you see a standard rate of return of, 5 to 8%. You want to be a millionaire, all you got to do is put $200 a paycheck away from the time that you're 21 to the time that you retire. It's a really easy solution.
Yeah.
But how does that work? And
bye, Pedro.
See you later, Pedro. Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much. Who participated in the benefit yesterday? We raised $4,500 to help offset medical expenses. That's cool. That's cool. A lot of great people in the community. Thank you so much for all of your support. How do you know if your IRA is that kind, Frosty? When you set it up, you're going to tell them, I want a Roth IRA. A standard IRA is different than a Roth IRA. Roth IRA, you take all the taxes out at the time of your deposit, and then they don't take taxes out at the end. Your compound interest is the same, but again, are taxes going to go down in time? Taxes will always go up. So take your taxes out now, pay your penalties now, and not do that later on. But yeah, Roth IRAs are really good. But we started talking about finance. We started talking about money and the importance of it, and the importance of silver and gold, and the importance of weight and diversifying your portfolio. So we're going to actually have her on, talk more about that kind of stuff later as we start seeing. She's a neat girl. I'm not saying that just because she's my daughter. She's genuinely a really neat girl. Very talented in the scope of art. So I'll have her back on to do some more drawings, and maybe have her doing a drawing while we're doing another presentation on something.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely do that. But ask questions. The last thing I'm going to leave you with before we start to wind this down is a thought based off of a conversation that I had a couple days ago. It is the semi-quincentennial, the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. There are a lot of opportunities. Mike, have a good one. We'll talk to you guys in a little bit. And again, folks, the link is in chat. I'm going to go ahead and pin that really quickly. All right, it's pinned, the Coin Show podcast. Make sure you guys get over there, say hi. And please make sure you tell them that I'm sending you. You guys, he's here, obviously, but let them know that you came from here. But the question is this. When you're doing, or the statement, I guess I should say, is this. When you are doing something like looking at coins for the semi-quincentennial, when you're looking at the history of something, find people who are passionate about it. Find people who want to teach about it. Find people who have done it for a while. Surround yourself with good quality people. Build a network of people who want to teach you everything they can about that item. glean information from them, but then go verify it.
Yeah.
Trust, but verify. Everything you get from me, verify. Trust, but verify.
We should do a show one day, one weekend, of people should send in their coin questions and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
I miss doing that.
Absolutely. We definitely can do that. My mom's in the chat.
I know, I just saw her. I was going to say hi.
Hope you were doing well. Kickstand, thank you so much for subscribing. I appreciate the support.
Have a blessed Sunday, everybody.
We'll take care, Paula. We'll see you later.
Yeah,
thanks for coming in and hanging out.
No, thanks for having me. Bye, everybody.
There's a lot of stuff to listening to people talk about things they're passionate about. But just because they're passionate about it doesn't mean that they have all the information. I don't have most of the information. But what I try to do is to try to surround myself with an amazing group of people, an amazing cast of people who do know. But here's what I want you to do when you come to the channel. I want you to remember it's a hobby. Take it serious. Do your research. But you don't have to know everything. Don't expect that you do. Don't let people tell you that, well, you don't know enough about this. It's like, well, that's why I'm asking you. Find people that want to pour into you. Find people that want to grow you. Find people that want to grow you in this hobby. If you're stacking, find people who want to grow you in stacking. Find people that want to help you in that. And cultivate multiple resources. But don't forget the new folks. For those of you who are brand new, I'm not going to ask you to subscribe. I'm not going to ask you to smash the like. I'm not going to ask you to do anything. I want you to go back and look at some of my content. And I want you to see if any of the content that I provided you about the 1982, the 1983, 1916D, the 1909 SVDB, go look at that and see if it differs from somebody else's. And if it does, what's the difference? Go look and see if I give you more information. Go see if there's more integrity and tact there. If there's not, tell me what I can do to improve. And if there is, or if you have questions, ask. I want to be available for you. I want to be a resource for you. Really, genuinely what I want to do is I want you guys to have fun. I want you guys to enjoy what it is that we do. Okay. Next Saturday, I'm going to go back into a routine. I was supposed to have Hercules on for crypto. Unfortunately, I'm sick. We're going to see if we can reschedule that because I do want to talk more finance stuff with my buddy Hercules. I do want to get him back on and have that conversation. If you're interested in that, please reach out and let me know. We're going to talk more silver and gold, a lot of up and downs in the market. Tiger and I are going to be interviewing Silver Dragons, so you're going to want to come over and check out that. I'm going to be on Salivate Metal. Salivate Metal is going to help me do a promo for the channel. I'm going to be on Salivate, so go over and check out and support Salivate Metal. But stay tuned to the community page. We're going to be posting more. I'm going to try and provide more information and try and have more people up here. I want to thank you all for growing the channel, for being engaged, for being a part of my morning, but for being a part of a really cool hobby, a really cool item. And let's continue to pour this into other people. Let's see if we can get more people in. All right, folks. Would somebody be willing to look at some pictures? You can send me pictures anytime you want to. I will forward them on. If you have any questions, exclamation point email while we're doing live. We'll give you my email. If you want to contact, you can do so. Reach out there. If you want a specific topic, comment on a video. Tell me, hey, you know what would be cool? This. If there's somebody you want me to interview, or if there's somebody that you think that we should have on the channel, or a topic that we should discuss, something pressing, let me know. All right, folks. Aloha for my Hawaii folks. Mahalo for being here. If you're across the pond, I bid you on to do. Take care of yourselves. Be well, be blessed. Thank you for spending your morning with me. In the pinned comment is the Coin Show podcast. It's a chit chat. It's going to be fun. We're going to just talk about random stuff. Go join me in the chat over there. Say hi to Mike. Tell him Frosty sent.